They say love makes you blind, but I think it just makes you trust too much. My name's Daniel, and this is the story of how I spent 15 years raising a child that wasn't mine, and the day I finally learned the truth that shattered everything I thought I knew about love, family, and forgiveness. I met Claire in my mid-20s. She was everything I wasn't: spontaneous, funny, full of light. Where I planned, she improvised. Where I doubted, she believed. We were complete opposites, but somehow we just worked. We got married after 2 years, bought a little house with creaky floors, and filled it with laughter. When she told me she was pregnant, I remember holding her face and saying, "You just made me the happiest man alive." She cried, I cried, and for that one moment it felt like the universe had handed me perfection. When Ethan was born, my entire world shifted. He had Claire's eyes and my smile, or so I thought. I used to come home from work and drop to my knees just to make him laugh. His first word was "Dad." I'll never forget that sound. I thought life couldn't get any better, but I was wrong, because it was about to get worse, much worse. 15 years passed like a blink. Ethan grew into a smart, kind, curious kid, the kind of son any father would be proud of. But around that 15th year, something about Claire changed. She started staying late at work. She'd take her phone everywhere, even to the bathroom. When I asked, she'd laugh it off. "Oh, Daniel, you worry too much." But her smile didn't reach her eyes anymore. Still, I trusted her. She was my wife, the woman who'd built a life with me. Why would I ever doubt her? One night, I came home early from work. She was sitting in the kitchen staring at her phone, pale as paper. When I asked if she was okay, she just said, "I'm fine, just tired." But when I touched her hand, she flinched like my touch burned. That night, I couldn't sleep. Something inside me whispered that something was wrong, deeply wrong. But I never imagined how wrong. It all started with something as simple as insurance paperwork. Ethan had applied for a school trip that required medical verification. The company needed a paternity test. Standard procedure, they said. I didn't even think twice. We went together. I joked with Ethan about how weird it was, how much he looked like me anyway. He laughed. Claire didn't. 2 weeks later, the results came in. I remember opening the envelope at the kitchen table, sunlight cutting across the wood. My hands were shaking, not because I expected anything, but because something in my gut already knew. Probability of paternity? 0. The words didn't make sense at first. I read them again and again, until the paper blurred from my tears. I looked up at Claire, and the look on her face told me everything before she spoke. She didn't even try to lie. She just whispered, "Daniel, please, let me explain." I couldn't. My throat was too tight, my heart pounding like a drum in a war I never wanted to fight. "Who is he?" I finally managed to say. Her lips trembled. "It was a mistake, before we got married. I didn't know I was pregnant until after you proposed. I didn't know how to tell you." My chair scraped against the floor as I stood. 15 years of laughter, hugs, and Father's Days flashed before me, all built on a lie. For days, I didn't speak to her. I couldn't. Every time I looked at Claire, I saw a stranger. Every time I looked at Ethan, I saw the truth, and I hated myself for it. He didn't deserve this. None of it was his fault. He was innocent. He was my son in every way that mattered. But the part of me that used to feel proud, that used to say, "I'm his dad," now only felt pain. One evening, Ethan came to me holding his report card. "Dad, I got straight A's." He smiled so wide, and I broke. I hugged him, tighter than ever, because I didn't know if I'd ever have the strength to tell him the truth. For weeks, I avoided it. But secrets rot, and silence becomes poison. So one night, I told him. We sat on the couch, the TV flickering in the background, shadows dancing on the walls. "Ethan," I said softly, "there's something I need to tell you. Something hard." He listened quietly, his little world unraveling word by word. When I said, "You're not my biological son," he didn't say anything, just stared. Then tears rolled down his cheeks. "So, what does that mean?" he asked. "It means," I said, my voice breaking, "that blood doesn't matter. You're my son. You'll always be my son." He leaned into me and cried, and that night I realized love doesn't end when the truth arrives. It just hurts differently. After that, things could never go back to the way they were. Claire begged me to stay. She said she'd made a mistake, that she was young and scared. Maybe she was, but forgiveness doesn't erase betrayal. It just buries it deeper. We divorced quietly. No fights, no screaming. Just the quiet signing of papers and the echo of what used to be. Ethan chose to live with me part-time, and every time he called me Dad, my heart ached, not from pain, but from gratitude. A year later, on Father's Day, Ethan came over with a small box. He handed it to me shyly, his hair messy, his eyes full of something I couldn't read. Inside was a watch, old-fashioned, silver, and engraved with 6 simple words, "For the man who chose me." I couldn't hold back the tears. All the anger, all the pain, all the sleepless nights, they melted away. Because in that one moment, I realized I hadn't lost 15 years. I'd gained a son who chose to love me back. Claire's betrayal didn't define me anymore. It didn't even define Ethan. It was just a chapter, painful, yes, but not the end. Now Ethan's 17. He still calls me Dad. We still watch football on Sundays. He knows where he came from, but he also knows who raised him. Sometimes, when I look at him, I still feel the sting, a reminder of everything that was stolen from me. But then he smiles, and I remember what was given instead. Being a father isn't about DNA. It's about love. It's about who shows up every day, without condition. Betrayal can destroy trust, but it can't erase love. Would you still love a child if you discovered he wasn't yours after raising him for 15 years?